All right, LSU +3 at Alabama. This is it's suddenly, if you told me at the beginning of the year this was still going to be a massive game, I would have said, "No, you're crazy." But LSU's worked their way back into respectability.
Well, I mean, the winner of this game could very well represent the SEC West.
Well, remember, Ole Miss already beat LSU,
and almost lost to Alabama.
But this LSU, well, yeah, I guess you're
we'll have a three-way
right.
tie.
But yeah, so it's a weird. I guess it's an important game. But let's start with this. My power rating on this game is Alabama -3.5 on a neutral, and obviously the market disagrees with that. LSU has been better, but I think maybe there's been an overreaction to shutting down Army's backup quarterback and shutting down Auburn. They've still struggled defensively against serviceable quarterbacks.
Mhm.
And, Alabama struggled to protect Milroe, but I don't think that's an issue against an LSU team that's just not getting much pressure. And I certainly think the LSU offense is going to have some success against this Tide, but this is such a good defense they're playing here. I think we've kind of forgotten how bad this LSU defense is because they played a couple teams that don't have a pulse on offense. And I do know LSU is going to play like this is the game of the year. This could really salvage the season for Brian Kelly if they beat Alabama. But Alabama losing earlier in the year really puts their backs against the wall too. Doesn't do LSU any favors that Alabama has that loss, because if Alabama loses this, they're out of the playoff picture as well. Saban is 12-5 straight up against LSU since getting to Alabama. Every one of those 12 wins has come by more than a field goal. I like Alabama here. I think 3 is short, and I like over 60.5. I think that the LSU put some points up, but I think Alabama just scores on almost every possession.
Alabama second in the SEC in pass efficiency defense. If you look at the three-way tie scenario, by the way, it would work in favor of LSU if there is the three-way tie, because they'll all be 5-1 against SEC West teams. They have no shared non-divisional opponents, and so it comes down to the best cumulative conference record of the non-divisional opponents, just like in the Big Ten. So you look at the teams that they played on the other side, and LSU has Missouri and Florida, which is better than Ole Miss and Alabama's opponents in the SEC East. So this is a huge game for LSU if they want that, that record or that three-way tie and try and get into the SEC championship game. Jaden Daniels is going to be a problem. He leads the FBS in total offense. But again,
he's ridiculous. Yeah, he's very good.
We talked about Alabama's defense and their pass efficiency, how they're going to handle him in the running game. We've seen Nick Saban teams struggle with mobile quarterbacks at times. But I think Alabama, you're right. They seem to be a team that has gone overlooked a lot this season because they're not the prototypical Alabama team, and you lose the second game of the season at home to Texas. But this is a primetime game in Tuscaloosa. That's a hard – how do you bet against Alabama in that spot?
My thought was Daniels is obviously a problem, like you said. But you know what? He put up 410 yards against Florida State, and they lost that game by 21 points. Like, he's only one guy. And if you are only an offense, if you're a loser on defense, and I think LSU, whatever you like, their offense is fantastic. They are bad defensively. Mm-hmm. And these are the kind of teams that you can beat up on some bad teams. You can blow the doors off Auburn and Army. Mm-hmm. But when you're on the field with a competent team, when you're at Ole Miss, you're on a neutral with Florida State, it's not that easy. Like, because not only do you have to keep up with them, you have to stop them at some point. And I just don't know where these stops come from. The two losses, they gave up 100 points combined. I could see Alabama getting well into the 40s in this game. So, and if that's the case, I don't like LSU's chances.